Today I'm joined by Frank Ching. Frank Ching has a very distinguished career in journalism and is a longtime resident of Hong Kong. He first worked for the New York Times for some 10 years as a China expert, and later was employed by the Wall Street Journal. Went to Beijing and opened the Wall Street Journal Bureau in 1979, just after China opened its doors to the world. July 1st marks the 13th anniversary of the reversion of Hong Kong to Chinese control. Just how successful is the one country, two system approach?
Well, I think on one level, you must say it's been pretty successful. You know, the great fear before July 1st, 1997 was that people in Hong Kong would lose their rights and freedoms, that the People's Liberation Army would march into Hong Kong and shut down newspapers, throw people in prison. None of that has happened. I would say that rights and freedoms in Hong Kong have been preserved. The British had an all-appointed legislature up until the time they realized they would have to give Hong Kong back to China.
They really weren't interested in democracy until the last couple of years, were they?
They showed no interest. Also, the top tiers of the officials, civil servants in Hong Kong, they were all British. There were no Chinese. And that also did not change until the British agreed to give Hong Kong back to China. Then they thought, before they left, they should promote Chinese to the higher levels, and they should introduce elections so that they would be seen as leaving with honor.
I thought it was a rather blustery statement that Wu Bangguo made, and he's, as I recall, the president of the National People's Congress. Hong Kong has freedom to the degree that we say Hong Kong has freedom.
Yes. Well, I thought that was an unfortunate statement also, but I think they were making the point that Hong Kong, that China is not a federation. It's not as though Hong Kong and other parts of China voluntarily came together to form China. So his point was that all the component parts of China have the authority that they have from the central government. And what the central government has not given is reserved to the central government. There is no such thing as a local authority having reserved power that had not been given to the central government.
Of course, Hong Kong was known as a place where the legal system was very functional, very credible, and a place that was ruled by law. Is it still that way? Or do you see any dilution in the impact or the rule of law?
I don't think there has been any dilution of the rule of law. I think the independence of the judiciary is one of the strongest points of Hong Kong. It distinguishes Hong Kong from mainland China, and there is no sign that is being eroded at all.
Actually, mainland China can learn a lot from the Hong Kong legal system, it seems to me.
Oh, I would agree with that, but of course they have a different legal system.
Right.
Hong Kong is part of the common law system, and mainland China is part of the continental system. So they do not operate the same way. They operate by not by precedents, but by actual legislation.
Sometimes people in China proper seem to look on Hong Kong with jealousy. Given Hong Kong is the most wealthy city in China. Do you still perceive that?
I think that is decreasing. I think for a long time there was a great desire on the part of a lot of people to move from the mainland to Hong Kong because they thought that life in Hong Kong was so much better. But as China has developed over the last 13 years, I think Hong Kong's relative attractiveness has declined. Now, I know personally one friend who is really a Beijing resident, moved to Hong Kong, became a Hong Kong permanent resident, and had to give up his Beijing hukou. And he, at one
let
time...
me just interrupt a second. The term hukou, for the benefit of our viewers, is this very special, should we call it legal document in China that stipulates where you can live.
Now he thinks that welfare benefits in Beijing are actually better than those in Hong Kong. And he told me he's thinking of trying to resume his Beijing hukou and give up his Hong Kong residence.